Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Lee, and I'm here with Joey, Lucky, Aldama, and we're going to be talking Melee, talking doubles, and talking other things here. So it's good to have you, and I think that this was a very interesting past few months. You had your injury with your leg.
Yeah.
How does it feel to start to see some results in doubles and singles after having that mini break?
In the long run, I want to say it feels great. Obviously, it was a rough time going through the whole injury. Like, a lot of people believe it was just my leg that was injured, but I also messed up my arm pretty bad to the point where I couldn't hold up a GameCube controller. So I wasn't able to hold one for about 2 months, and trying to come back and play after not touching a controller felt like the most foreign thing ever. So now that I'm able to play again consistently and just travel consistently, it feels great to see all the hard work paying off finally.
So I noticed, despite there's stereotypes with the Norwalk style, you guys like to feel, I noticed that you're taking a different approach to how to improve, and you're reinventing yourself. So can you explain what you're doing?
It's been more so a mix of just improving my options, I'm not exactly trying to change my style. I just want to add more options to the pool of things that I can do in neutral in terms of punish game, edge guarding. And once I get all that stuff down, I want to try to transition back to my previous playstyle with the addition of all these extra options, and I think it's just going to work out great. It's been a slow progression so far, but I kind of think it goes hand in hand with the injury, so it's kind of just working out in the long run. Like I said, it was a slow start. I was getting kind of rocked left and right. Every time I traveled, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. If I was going to locals, it wasn't what I wanted, but I think it's slowly starting to show, and I'm really excited to see where I go in the future.
So how are you doing that? Are you watching videos, talking to people?
It's actually a mix of everything you would think. I'm talking to other top players about different options, trying to watch a lot of the top Fox players like SFAT or Leffen, and trying to just add different tools that they use to my own gameplay. And other than that, it's been just repetition, I think, at this point. Just trying to make it feel more like muscle memory than something that I'm telling myself to do. And other than that, I would say it's pretty much just simple stuff, right?
Yeah. It's been a relatively light beginning of 2017. Of course, the summer's coming around, and that's like the big thing that everybody's competing for. What are your targets by then?
Right now, I think I'm more just focused on improving the most that I can. Results are always nice for so many reasons, but if I'm getting results that are just going to be random from one event to the next, it's not exactly something to be that happy about. I'm sure the community cares a lot about that, the fans care about that, the people on Reddit care about that. But I'm trying to make changes to my gameplay that are going to make those, higher placements more consistent. So right now I'm just taking each event going into summer and just trying to add as much as I can to my overall skill. So that way when I feel comfortable, I'm not going to say my goal for the summer is to do this. It's just going to be every event that I go to, my goal is to win.
Over the years, you've changed a lot in the sense of your personality. When I first met you, you're just shy, quiet kid with this giant afro. For people at home, you guys can look up pictures of the old Lucky.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be more in the spotlight, which is something that you haven't really grown up with?
It feels pretty comfortable at this point, because it's not like it just happened overnight, like I would imagine with some other esports. It was something that happened progressively since 2007. It's just the scene's gotten bigger and bigger every other year, and it's just been a slow ride to where I am now, to the point where it was comfortable the whole time. It never felt, foreign or weird or anything like that. Just every event that gets bigger, it's like, oh, this is really, really nice to have, these fans, the spotlight and all that, cameras. But it was never just, completely brand new. It just was a slow progression towards it.
How did it feel that when you walk around Los Angeles or SoCal to be recognized?
It's a nice feeling. I don't know what else I could say about it. I think it's really funny just because that is something that probably didn't happen very often until very recently, like maybe a couple of years ago, where you go out somewhere to dinner, you go out to a movie, to Disneyland, whatever, and just people see you and they get so excited, they want to take a picture with you, maybe have you sign something, and it's just you're just out in the middle of nowhere and people are just staring at you like really awkwardly. So that's always kind of nice. It's a surreal type of feeling and something I feel really grateful for.
Throughout the history, when people think of Norwalk historically, Mang0 was the first one to really stand out from SoCal in an era where we didn't really have strong West Coast players, and then you came along later. But there's always a sense of you were always underneath the shadow of Mang0. How did that feel?
It wasn't that big of a deal just because he was such a close friend of mine, honestly. Maybe if he had been someone who I knew, maybe it might have been more of a frustrating type of thing. But because he was like a best friend of mine, even a brother almost, I could say, we grew up together. He lived with me for a couple of years. It just felt nice having someone that, you know, I consider a very close friend doing so well. And it never really like hit me that hard to be in his shadow. Maybe like once or twice, but it wasn't that big of a deal to me.
How did it feel to kind of come into your own within the larger community? Like, how did that kind of come about for you?
I wouldn't even be able to tell you a specific time. I think it just happened naturally over time. And before I knew it, I was just very comfortable being my own player and very comfortable just trying to progress to catch up to him and all the other top players.
Let's go ahead and talk about doubles then. You guys, I think the very first really memorable run was when you guys beat Ken and Isaiah.
Yeah.
Back at Super Champ Combo. You guys have gone through years. What was it like to be so dominant in that era?
Those were the days, man. Because even like back then was similar to now in the sense that I was not one of the best singles players. I was, top 50, top 30, top 20. But you weren't going to look at me and say, man, like Lucky has a chance of winning the tournament. And I think that kind of is still the same sense right now. But back then when you looked at me as a teams player and as a team in general with Mang0, it was like, all right, these guys are the guys to beat. And back then, that was such a good feeling. And now that me and Mang0 are starting the team again once in a while, and I'm starting to get that feeling back again, it feels really, really satisfying.
Where do you feel like Mang0 and Lucky as a team are relative to the top teams? Do you guys think you guys are up there, top 5, top 10?
I think we're easily top 5. I mean, every event we've gone to, we've been placing top 3, I want to say, for a while now. I mean, it's not like it's been that many events, but still, I think we've shown the potential we can beat any team right now, any team combination. It's just a matter of, I think, more consistent teaming at events. Because Mang0 and I don't exactly practice at home like the other teams. We don't theory craft like the other teams. It's more of like we grew up together, so we know what the other is thinking. And I think the more we play together in tournament, the more comfortable a sense of trust becomes. And once we get that feeling of trust, I feel like we can't be stopped. So hopefully we get there 100%, and I honestly think we're going to be the best team in the world again.
So, I mean, one of the big things that's kind of happened in both melee singles and doubles is this like kind of like really specific, let's unwrap the game, let's study it. And singles and a lot of the other top doubles teams are doing that. Do you feel like that's necessary at this point, or is that something that's like so out there that you just need to get good at the game?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, Mang0 and I have never been one to break down the game like that. If it comes to a point ever where that's what the thing to do is, I'm sure we might do it. But our entire team's career, it's always been just trust each other, do what we have to do, and just knowing each other's options and what we will cover, won't cover, and the rest just kind of takes care of itself. So we'll see in the future. Speaking
of the rest, you guys, primarily play Falco Fox or Double Fox. There's an era, I'd say in the early 2011, 2012, I forget the exact time, where you guys did Fox Puff, a little bit of Fox Fox. But it started not working out for you guys at a certain point, and I know that there was like, back and forth, like it was this guy's fault or it was this person's fault. So what kind of happened that kind of led to you guys like kind of falling apart?
In the long run, I think we were teaming and we were doing completely fine. And once Brawl was announced, that whole thing happened. We just started naturally teaming less due to me traveling less, me working full time. And once we took a very long break from teaming with each other, I think that sense of trust that we have and are known for just kind of vanished since we weren't entering stuff together anymore. And like the Puff Fox just didn't work because he needed to trust me, I needed to trust him. And I think that's kind of what led to our downfall since we were teaming so much less, since we really do depend on trust and just, being comfortable with what the other player will do or won't do. It just was bound to happen since we teamed so little from year to year. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was just we teamed less, so then just stuff stopped working as well. That's all, I think that's just how it comes down to.
What brought that back for you guys? Because now you guys seem to be like a happy reunited couple again.
I think for the most part, it was it's always one of those things, right, where if you have a plan B in the back of your head, when plan A doesn't work, you always want to lean towards plan B. And I feel like, not saying I'm plan A or plan B or SCJ's plan A or plan B, but the fact that he knew he could team with SCJ and he had the option, whenever we did bad, it was always kind of like in his head, I think, I should have just teamed with Johnny. And, we didn't have that, like I said, sense of trust, so things weren't working out as well. And I think he was always just thinking, I should team with Johnny, I should team with Johnny. And then they would team, and they would do, similar to how we would do. And it just kind of, I think he was kind of in limbo about what he should do with teams. Should he try with teams? Should he team with either of us? And then eventually SCJ just started teaming more with Dwan or Shrooms, which just kind of left him stuck with me. And then we just started teaming more and more and more. And like I said, every event that we've teamed at, we've just been more and more comfortable teaming with each other and getting more respect for what the other player will do or won't do. And that team synergy is just coming back just so flawlessly, thanks to us just teaming more at more tournaments.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you guys don't really practice teams, but what do you guys talk about, or do you guys just play?
I think we literally just play. I think if something goes really wrong, we'll mention that after when we get rocked and stuff. But when it comes from match to match, we almost won't say anything to each other. It's more of I think we've been teaming so long, we know what the other player has to do. The other partner, I should say. Like, I know what Mang0 has to do whenever we lose. I know what I have to do whenever I lose, and vice versa with him to me.
You guys have played each other for such a long time. You guys, I hear stories when I talk to Mang0 or I talk to you, just like you guys are so familiar with each other's habits, and that's good for doubles. But one criticism that I hear very often is Norwalk just plays with Norwalk.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that's hurting you guys from leveling up?
To an extent, yes. I would actually say so. It's just common sense. Like, we get stuck in a lot of each other's habits, and we get very comfortable in what the other player will do. And I think it's more of I think the thing that hurts us the most is we realize what our smartest options are, and we respect them extremely hard. So when someone does something that isn't as smart or isn't as ideal in neutral, and it catches us off guard, it's a really foreign feeling. And then we kind of get lost and just say, like, why would you do that in our heads? And that's due to us just not playing enough of other people.
So up ahead, I mean, given that you guys know that, and you want to climb, Mang0 wants to climb, Johnny wants to get better. Are you guys taking steps to do something else? Freshen things up, or make things different?
I think in general, we all stick to ourselves about how we're going to get better and how we intend to improve. Me personally, I'm already looking into inviting players over to my house more often to play on my stream, to practice. We just had SFAT move down to Southern California, which I think is going to be fantastic for all three of us due to his playstyle being so different from ours. And honestly, I think I just need to play other people. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I'm going to make sure to take steps towards doing that. So hopefully they do something as well.
Are the days of Turbo Joey gone?
No. No, not yet. Like I said, I'm just taking steps into adding additional tools into my tool set, into the toolbox. Once I get them all situated and I have all those tools firmly, in my moveset, I'm going to just be able to, like, mess around with the whole slow style, the dash dance style, and then just randomly go turbo again and, really catch people off guard.
So we're going to kind of switch it up a bit. I think in 2009, when, our locals went from 40 people to 8 to 10 people, we thought this game was going to die. And, I think for a lot of us, we had this idea of, well, we'll still play Melee, but we'll do, something else, to, make a living. Are there any other hobbies or passions that, you're interested in at all? Yeah,
it's always a weird thing to say. I don't think people truly understand what I mean when I say this, but I'm a huge craft beer fanatic. Like, I love craft beer from the bottom of my heart. Everything about the entire craft beer scene, I legitimately just love. So if I'm ever going to stop playing Super Smash Brothers, I'm going to just go into the beer scene, the craft beer scene, try to work with a brewery. I would love to be a head brewmaster, But I mean, I'll start slow. Just pick a favorite brewery from California that I want to represent, almost like an esports team, I just want to represent a brewery, work with them, climb the ladder, start making beers for them and stuff. And that's really what I want to do in the future, since it's such a big passion of mine. And it's really hard to describe why it's a passion, but I love craft beer.
So it's more than a team beer meme of, like, I just drink beer.
Yeah. I mean, team beer is all about, spirit and just drinking beer and having fun. am all about that. But on the other side, I still love like a finely crafted, just craft beer. It's just such a different feeling.
So in the future, Mang0 has aspirations to have a bar one day.
He's told
Do
me.
you think that you're going to be the one that, like, when you guys are like 40, 50, 60, you're going to be the supplier for him?
He's talked to me about it, and he said if he ever did have a beer, he would make sure he had a craft beer section, and he told me he would let me handle that.
And what's your favorite craft beer?
I've had like over 800, so I mean, I don't think I could just
Is there
choose
any
one.
that stands out? Like, I wish, like, maybe because the craft beer market's like limited availability, you have to go on a sign up list. Is there one that's just like, man, like, it's so rare, I love it, but I just can't get it?
There's so many I can think of. I'm just going to say one that I just love personally. I buy it every year. It's called Uncle Jacob's by Avery Brewing Company. I actually have a vertical of it sitting in my closet from like 2012 to now. And I'm just like waiting for something big to happen so that way I can pop open every bottle and just taste the difference of how each batch like tasted from year to year and just see how they aged over time and stuff. So that beer is fantastic.
So for a person that isn't really familiar with the craft beer, and this is an extended beer segment.
Yeah, of course.
So sorry for you young kids that can't drink.
21 and over.
How do they explore the market?
Just go to your local spots. That's usually the best thing to do. You know, try looking up local breweries around your area, check them out. And whenever you go to a local brewery, it's always easy to ask, what are the best local shops to go to, the best local pubs to go to. The thing that's beautiful about craft beer, it spawned from just being a local thing. And it's always something that you really take pride in whenever you have a really good brewery in your area or your, you know, area code, whatever you want to say. Like whenever you, like say I live in LA, right? I'm going to go to a good LA brewery, say what are the good spots to buy beer at, and the brewers are going to be happy enough to tell you because they just love craft beer in general.
So kind of to wrap things up, is there, you know, we've explored this topic of craft beer,
Yeah.
and I kind of want to accentuate that because, you know, you are genuinely passionate about it. Is there something that you want to, something in additional to that you want to share that they may not know about Joey?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I wish Devil May Cry 3 was an esport. If you guys haven't seen a combo video for Devil May Cry 3, you should look that up because those things are amazing.
I mean, isn't that how you got your little tattoo?
Yeah, I do. I'm a huge fan of Devil May Cry, and I have Dante's sword on the back of my arm there. So I do love Devil May Cry.
Because I remember a lot of people were asking, what's that sword for?
I get that question a lot.
So now you guys know at home.
True.
Now that we're about wrapping up, is there any shout outs that you want to give?
Definitely a shout out to my sponsor, Selfless. You know, I've been going through a rough time with results-wise, the injury and all, and, you know, they've been supporting me the whole time and really been there backing me up and, you know, cheering me on, so I definitely appreciate it, guys. And, you know, being with the rivalry event, shout out to West Coast and the family and fans, you know, all you guys. Love you, y'all.
So that wraps up our interview with Joey Lucky Aldama. Thank you for listening.